Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be giving you the best weapon recipe and guide inside of the Forge. Now, I'm going to be trying to cover as much detail and information as I can in regards to this, because as a note, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of ores in this new update, and I'm going to try my best to try to show you literal individual recipes alongside the best applicable thing you can do to apply in general crafting rules to the ores you actually do have. Now, as a quick note, we'll be using all of the information on the website that'll be linked in the description. This is very helpful and a great Wikipedia to use. Firstly, we're going to look at the weapons I have so I can just give you a little understanding, right? So I have this weapon right here. It is a curved handle axe. Obviously, it's not one of the better axes you can get. You going over to the Forge, it is pretty much just one of the basic axes you can get. Nonetheless, though, it is pretty good. It averages almost 500 DPS, I believe, because that is going to be the main priority, is getting the best weapon with the best DPS. Alongside this, the best one that'll allow you to grind, as this is one of the most important things to know. Another mechanic you should definitely consider is when you are crafting, here's a note. So if the thing is mythic, you're going to be able to get it to equip 2 runes before having to essentially get legendary essence. Now, if it comes into the relic rarity, like you see with this curved handle axe right here, this one is going to have legendary essence to upgrade to equip 2 runes. This might not seem like a big deal, but this is very, very important whenever we get into the grinding mechanics behind these weapons. Now, first things first is what I will definitely recommend is if you have, say, a pickaxe like the one I have right now, the prismatic pickaxe, as you can see, this is the best pickaxe in the game. Obviously, I'm working on getting mining runes for it, but you want to try to get some of these recipes, since these are very, very powerful weapons that are only going to be limited to this event. Obviously, there's some other interesting stuff you can get, but most notably the Hell Slayer recipe and the candy cane recipe. Now, these 2 weapons are going to be very simple to just straight up get. The Hell Slayer being obtainable over, I think, just one simple quest. You only have to do one to get enough of the Xmas tickets to be able to afford it. But what we're going to do is come on over to the Forge, and as you can see, we come on down 2 straight swords. We have the Hell Slayer unlocked at a 1 in 16. So it's going to be in between the Rapier and the Chaos. Now, obviously, there's another one. Don't have the recipe for this. I believe this is the candy cane weapon. But another thing you can note in regards to this is if you do get both of them, you're going to have a pretty good chance to get one or the other. Obviously, the candy cane one being better because it is harder to get. Now, the first thing we're going to look over is the ores I'm going to be using as a demonstration. So I have plenty of decent ores from this update, from plenty of Sanctus, Snowite, Void Stars, not many Etherealites since I used a lot of them in a previous video, and some of this relic right here. This is a 15x multiplier. This will unlock the geyser. You can come on up to the peak, and a lot of these are going to be very, very easily mined, where you can go ahead and get them on just about 50% health, and then you can see what ore is inside of it. So this is I believe a Aqua Jade or a Molten Frost. Either way, each one is going to be a bit over an 8x multiplier. Yeah, so Molten Frost. So the one we just got is an 8.3x multiplier. So when it comes to getting upfront damage, this is way bigger of a jump compared to the previous island from the Forgotten Kingdom. As you can tell, even when I came over here using weapons crafted from the previous best ores, which was Darkrai and Demonite, you can easily get way better things from this. And even those weapons were able to easily fight mobs up here. So realistically, you want to try to focus on passives for the most part. So back on down to the Forge. Now, if you do want to check out the website I was referring to, which is in the description, you don't have to because I'll just be showing you. You can come on from the homepage on down to the ores, just right here, and we can see this whole selection, every ore in the game, the traits that they have from the new Frostfire Expanse and the peak. We can also see some other things like this ore right here, which has a 10% damage as poison for 3 seconds and a 33% chance to land. This applies to weapons. So this is essentially like the eye ore of the second island. If you remember the eye ore, this is pretty much going to work the same way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get some of the new recipes from the straight sword that I did get from previously. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw in some Void Stars because I have this unlocked. Now, I'm going to click on down, try to get to where the straight sword is at its highest of 86%. I'm also actually going to go into my shop and equip the Dwarf race because it has a 5% better forge. Anyway, so the Dwarf will give you an increase to the crafting. So we're going to throw in just a few Void Stars. Now, straight swords are pretty good weapons. As you see, we only need 6 to unlock these straight swords. And I like how these all fall through it. It's kind of funny. You can see the Falchion, kind of bad. Cutlass, kind of bad. Rapier, kind of bad. Now, the Chaos, Hell Slayer, and then the Christmas one is pretty good. Now, if you do manage to get daggers or a mace out of this by the very unlikely chance, you should be fine. But we're going to go ahead and forge this and hope we get a decent weapon. So, oh, we got a Chaos. The 1 in 16. This is actually This is really good. So now we go ahead and craft this. And best thing about it is since it only uses 6 ores, it is actually very easy to get very good weapons. So as you see, we got Void Star 100%, straight sword class, rarity, legendary, and has a 187 damage. Now I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this just to show you a bit more information on that. But we're going to come on into the enhancer. I'm going to go ahead and just enhance this a good bit. Now, yeah, like I was saying previously, you can get up to 2 runes if it's not in the relic category before it requires legendary essence to upgrade. Now, as we can see on the equipment, the new one is actually a very good pull. As you can see, it does 243 damage, which obviously I don't believe is better than the current axe I'm using. So not really going to swap it, but here are the stats we're going to be looking at. So increase critical chance, a increase to critical damage, and the minus health. But if we combine this with going on over to achievements and equipping things such as this, which is the upgrade master, which you can get either upgrade master or the rune master, this will increase your critical chance even further, meaning you can get up to the point of nearly guaranteeing a critical hit every single time. And if you don't know, critical chances nearly double your damage. And if you have obviously these Void Stars used inside of it, it'll also increase the damage multiplier applied from critical damage. Now, also another thing in regards to the recipe website I was talking about previously, if you come on over to the homepage and scroll on down to the tools section, you can see this inventory optimizer. So this will give you recommended recipes and just things you should do in general with your inventory. So on the website now, it is giving us a few options. So as you can see, if we're going for high damage, it's obviously going to recommend things like this. Obviously, you can scroll through all of these. If you do the math on the average weapon DPS on average, right, you're not going to see too much of an increase. They're usually all relatively the same. The only difference is the multiplier is very important. So if you go on over to index, right, as you see, they all have their base damage, which you can see this one is like really small for some reason, 7.7, a lot of zeros, and then a 4. But all of these are either going to deal less damage and swing faster, which if you don't know, that means its DPS is going to be increased, or it's going to swing slower and have a higher upfront damage. Now, pretty much, once again, that means its DPS is going to be lower than the actual damage on the weapon. So in total, what this means, most of the best options are going to be firstly the rarer category. So for example, the chaos one we just crafted, this is crafted completely with Velshire or 107 damage. But if we go and look at another one, this was crafted with eyesight, as you might know. If you were to look at the multiplier difference of both ores, Velshire is a 5.5, while ice ore is a 10.5. So very dramatic difference. The angelic one has an attack speed, which is faster than the eyesight one. And not only that, but it only deals just shy of 40 less damage. But that's interesting considering it's 40 less damage for nearly a 5x difference on the multiplier. This is because obviously we lucked out and got the highest rarity one. You want to completely get as many of ore categories as you can that combine different traits that complement each other without being too far different from each other. I would only recommend 1 to 1.5x difference on the average multiplier of the ore when you're crafting. Obviously, etherealite is good for armor. When you're crafting, like I was saying before, that the weapon you get, if you have, say I have 17 etherealite, none of these aren't actually that bad. As you can see, if I were to do the straight sword recipe it's recommending, this is 1 eyesight and 5 of these. I would probably switch out one of these for 2 eyesight, but as you see, it says we'll get solar, burning, frozen, and frostbite. So these are 2 traits that these ores give. So if we go on over to the ores category, this I know does have a trait passive, and then eyesight also has a trait passive. This applies to weapons, which freezes enemies for 2 seconds, 25% chance to hit, 12-second cooldown. You might not think this is very important, but when you're actually sitting and grinding continuously, this is very, very helpful. So we go on in and try to craft the recipe it was recommending, which was 5 of these and 1 eyesight. Like I said, I'm going to swap one of these out for 2 eyesight. Now we're looking at this recipe right here. This wouldn't be too bad. 13.5x. We have, hopefully we get something like the Hellslayer or Chaos. We're going to go ahead and craft this. Probably with my luck, we're not going to get anything good. Okay, yeah, we got a cutlass. That's not too good, but we're going to go stick with it. And all right, so we got another cutlass. Pretty decent. 250 damage. The same thing again. Hopefully we can get a better weapon. And I'm completely wrong. We got a really bad weapon. All right, so we'll look over the stats of these in uno momento. So we'll go ahead. As you see, we have 2 cutlasses just by switching out the amount of ores we used. The eyesight cutlass has 230 damage. The Seriful one has 253. Now, as I was explaining before though, since we have the different rarities, we can upgrade one more than the other. So we're gonna go ahead and mess around with that. We're gonna upgrade the cutlass that is legendary to the max. And I ran out of ores. Never mind. Guess we're not going to. As you can see, we got 200, almost 300 damage. This one, obviously, if we do go and grind some legendary essence, we can get this higher. But as you can see, my personal favorite is going to go ahead and be the one I crafted right here, this axe. Now, obviously, you might be able to tell, almost a 0.5 attack speed, 240 damage. This one right here has a 0.6 attack speed, 250 damage. So the attack speed is very important. Now, as a final note in regards to grinding, I would recommend mainly prioritizing legendary weapons or legendary to the mythic category. The reason for this is the relic categories to the divine ones from the rarest ores are going to have a very hard time on you because you're going to have to get these upgraded numerous times with legendary essence. And the main way you can continuously grind is if you have the life steal enchantment using the runes. Pretty much the only way you can continuously grind is using life steal. But as far as that goes, that's going to be it for this video. If this helped you out, make sure to leave a like. And if you have any other questions in regards to recipes you want to look over, make sure to drop those down in the comments and I will make sure to respond. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you on the next one.